We're joined right now by one of the up-and-comers. I think he's still up-and-coming, although he may have already arrived. Eric Cantor, the House Republican whip. Sir, you're one of the top Republicans in the House right now. Explain this race to the people outside the Commonwealth of Virginia, the importance of the Virginia governor's race to somebody, say, in Utah right now.
Well, no question, Chris. This is a great night for Republicans in Virginia. And clearly the people of this Commonwealth have said enough with the spending, enough with the waste, enough with the government overreach. And they've rejected the policies that have been what this administration in Washington's about. And they've embraced what Bob McDonnell has been talking about here in Virginia. And
well, where do you get that information? Because we've got a exit polling which shows about a fifth of the people, a little less than a fifth of the people thought they were voting to support Obama today in Virginia. About a bit more than a fifth said they're voting against him, and the overwhelming majority said they're voting locally. How do you get this confidence that this was a rejection of Barack Obama?
Look, Chris, we also look at the exit polls which indicate that 85% of Virginians are voting out of their concerns over the economy, and even more in New Jersey. 90% of the voters there are unsatisfied with the economy. Whose economy is it? It's Barack Obama's economy, and clearly there is a rejection of the policies that have been coming out of Washington. And it's been the leadership here of Bob McDonnell that says, you know what, there is a better way. And he's been able to unite our party here in Virginia and to attract independents in droves, and I think you're going to see an overwhelming victory here in Virginia tonight, in stark contrast to where the intensity and the victory occurred just a year ago here in the Commonwealth.
But that's just a partisan statement, isn't it, to blame the economy on Barack Obama when he inherited what he inherited? That's just a partisan statement to call it the Obama economy.
Well, listen, Chris, I mean, there's no question that there is a rejection of things coming out of Washington. Washington's controlled by the other party. It's controlled by the Barack Obama White House.
But, Mr. Cantor, every poll shows people hate the Republican Congress as much as they do the Democratic Congress. You guys are you hate it now, but you're a leader now. You're an incumbent. You're part of the establishment. You're part of the crowd they don't like. Right? Or am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me they only dislike Democrats. They only hold Democrats accountable for the lousy economy. Just tell me that. But don't cross your fingers and say you're just doing it because you're a Republican spokesman. You can't honestly believe that this is just a lousy economy because of Barack Obama. That we'd have 4% unemployment if he weren't president. Do you think McCain would have any better thing going right now?
Listen, Chris, I'm just looking at the voters and the numbers that we're going to see here in Virginia tonight. This is a rejection of what things have been going on in Washington, and this is an embracing of what Bob McDonnell's and the leadership that Bob McDonnell has shown.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions. Why is it that Virginia every year, even Mark Warner, after we just elected Bush president, George W. Bush was elected, immediately thereafter, Mark Warner was elected a Democratic governor of Virginia. Was he a rejection of Bush right off the bat, right after 9/11, 2 months after 9/11, he was a rejection of Bush? Can you actually say that with consistency, what you're saying now?
I think what we're seeing here in Virginia is a rejection of the theory that you and others, really, Chris, had put out last year, that somehow our traditionally red state had gone blue or purple. And I think what it really says is this is a warning shot to the Democrats and to the president that, you know what, the policies they're pursuing are not being embraced by a state that you yourself had talked about a year ago as going to the blue column. This is a warning shot to the moderate Democrats to say, hey, wait a minute, maybe we ought to try another way. Maybe there is a better way.
Okay. If you're going to quote me, Congressman, and you're a very smart guy, try to get it right. I said that states like North Carolina, where I went to school, and Virginia, because of their incredible commitment to their university systems in Richmond and in Charlottesville and around the state, with all the levels of the higher education system in both those states, had taken themselves from the old South and made themselves enlightened enough to be able to vote for an African-American for president and to have a choice in who they vote for. I didn't say they'd become liberal states or automatic Democratic states, and you know I didn't. Anyway, let me ask you about the big question here for you tonight. McDonnell, let's put a real prize around him. I think McDonnell's great claim to fame is he ran a positive campaign. The other guy was going after his term papers from 30 years ago. And McDonnell talked about his daughter fighting for the U.S. as a servicewoman overseas in Iraq, as a Notre Dame graduate, as a ROTC person. I thought he really sold the positive, and that's why he won. If he won.
Well, I agree with you. The campaign was incredibly well run, and the message was positive. And I think it does say something about the voters of Virginia. They want to have a better prospect for the future. And Bob's campaign focused on jobs. It was clearly an economic message that won the day here in Virginia. And when you look at where people's minds are here, 85% of the people are concerned about their economy. They're looking for another way. They're rejecting the policies coming out of the Congress and the White House towards the economy. So it was, you're right, that positive agenda for the future that Bob McDonnell won the day.
Why did Bob McDonnell keep Sarah Palin out of the state? He let her use the robocalls, but no reference to him personally. Why was he? I have a theory that Virginia may not be a liberal state, certainly never will be probably, but it's certainly not a wacko right-wing state either. And I don't think it would ever go for a Sarah Palin over a Barack Obama, but I may be wrong. In lousy economic conditions, anything's possible. You wouldn't call Virginia a Palin state, would you?
Virginia has always been a common-sense conservative state. There are millions of voters here who embrace Sarah Palin, obviously millions who are embracing Bob McDonnell. You know, our state is one that is a center-right state. I think it is reflective of where the nation is, and that's why we are very excited about what this win tonight will mean for our prospects in November of 2010.
I bet if you go home and check with your voters, Congressman, a lot of your most trusted voters who like you personally are scared to bejesus out of Sarah Palin. She's a theocrat. She's so far out in terms of basic American notions of pluralism that your voters would think she was frightening.
Chris, you just said that Bob McDonnell won the day on a positive message.
Right.
So here you go again.
I'm just saying you wouldn't let her in the state.
People are rejecting.
Did Bob McDonnell overrule you when you tried to bring Sarah Palin in the campaign for him?
Absolutely not. She is welcome in this state. I'm sure Bob McDonnell would say she is. And again, it's that kind of negativity that's been rejected here in Virginia tonight. You said so yourself, Chris.
Well, you know what? I like a lot of. I love John Warner. What a great senator he was. I think that's the kind of guy you should be picking. And you, if you settle down a little bit and move to the center. Anyway, Congressman Eric Cantor, thank you. I mean, really, one of the real rising stars in the Republican Party. I think he's going to be one of the real leaders of the country someday. I'm not sure it's great, but I think it's going to happen. Anyway, thank you, Congressman Cantor, for coming on Hardball. Please come back. As you can tell, you're very welcome here.